Hello everyone and welcome to the Thrifty Nurse. My name is Phyllis and I'm the Thrifty Nurse. I'm currently working in a high-stress environment in juvenile corrections, and I have implemented my exit strategy to escape from that prison. On this channel, I'll be talking my way through how and why I'm leaving this job without a solid backup plan, so that if you find yourself in a similar situation, you can learn from my mistakes, take my tips that are working, and I'm hoping that I can help at least one person on a similar journey. So quitting your job may not always be the best choice. What do you do if you really feel work is weighing you down and you just can't quit? This video will show you what burnout is, signs and symptoms to look for, and ways you can cope and hopefully improve your situation. So let's get into this video. First, work burnout. What is it? It's a psychological syndrome that happens when someone has prolonged and chronic stress, say at their job or in school. So how do you know when you're burned out at your job? You may feel overwhelmed and stressed and exhausted while you're there. You may wake up on a workday with automatic dread every morning about going into work or school. You may feel unappreciated at work for what you do. There are 3 key symptoms to work burnout: exhaustion, cynicism or detachment, and a feeling of lack of accomplishment. So let's look at exhaustion. Are you exhausted? Do you feel so tired when you get home from work or school that you find it hard to do anything? Maybe you don't want to cook, so you run through that fast food line and get something for dinner. Maybe you have a hard time dealing with family members, much less finding quality time to spend with them. Physical and emotional exhaustion can also cause body aches, difficulty concentrating, and feeling drained or irritable. So now let's look at the second symptom, cynicism or detachment. This shows itself as a negative attitude, especially in your stressful environment. You may feel negative toward your coworkers. You may isolate yourself from them, or you may feel disconnected from them. There may even be conflict in your workplace, partly because of your irritable temper. The third symptom, lack of accomplishment. What does that look like? Have you ever lost your drive to be productive at work? You may feel useless or ineffective, even over things you used to excel at, and this can lead to a poor work performance. If your irritability at work gets too strong, you may find it difficult to control your emotions, leading to a short temper at work or even at home. You may find it difficult to keep up with self-care tasks and develop poor eating habits, such as grabbing that fast food after work. Headaches and blurry vision can also manifest when the stress gets too much, and it is known that chronic stress leads to chronic illnesses such as heart disease and can contribute to diabetes and things like that. All right, so that's all the bad news. Where's the good news? Does this mean that you have to quit your job? Not necessarily. And in my next video, I'll be discussing my own personal journey on why the burnout got to be too much for me leading up to my decision to quit. But right now, let's discuss things you can do other than quitting your job. How can you cope with burnout, or perhaps even prevent it in the first place? First thing I want you to look at is it possible to change your work patterns? Maybe work fewer hours, take more breaks, limit your overtime. In my job, I work 4 10-hour shifts to make up my 40-hour week. It used to be that I had every other weekend off and then odd days off here and there throughout the week. I hated not having the same schedule every week, so there was no way that I could sign up for, say, a weekly yoga class because I was working every other Saturday. I was working every other Tuesday. So there was never a solid day when I'd be available every single day for a weekly class. So I went and negotiated for a block schedule at work, and what that looked like to me was working Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, still working my 10-hour shifts, but doing them Sunday through Wednesday so that I had a constant Thursday, Friday, Saturday off. So when I found a Thursday class, I could sign up for it and know that I'd be available every single Thursday to do something that I wanted to do on a weekly basis. I also stopped volunteering for overtime on those 3 days off. I will work my double on work days if they need me, but I make sure that I don't pick up too much overtime that it interferes with my sleep or my personal time. And while I'm at work, I make it a point to get up and stretch at least every couple of hours, perhaps doing a few yoga moves or stretches, just walking around the building a little bit, or I will excuse myself to go to the bathroom to do some deep breathing techniques and some stress reduction techniques when my coworkers are pushing my very last buttons. So the first way you can help manage or prevent your burnout is to see if you can alter your work schedule, perhaps work fewer hours or take more breaks. The second thing to look at is, do you have enough social support? It's good to let your colleagues know when things are becoming too much. Maybe you can work together and lessen each other's loads, or talk things out with your family and friends. Discuss your stressors and get it off your chest, though you do need to be mindful not to make that into your personality. Get it off your chest and then move on. And prioritize spending time with those you love. Go out on a day off and do something completely unrelated for work. Maybe go see a movie or go on a local hike. Maybe even join a weekly euchre club. I've made it a point to bring my stressors to my hubby's attention and letting him know what's going on with me. I'm mindful enough to notice when the stress is making me snappish so that I can let him know so he doesn't take it personally when I get agitated. Him and I even make jokes together about that coworker, and that also helps lighten the load. So the second way to manage or prevent burnout is to make sure you have good social support, a good social network. A third way you can manage burnout and stress is to look at how you relax. Do you make it a point to unwind at the end of your day? Meditation, breathing exercises, and yoga are some common ways to help de-stress. Maybe making a bedtime ritual of a cup of tea with a good book, or coming up with your own bedtime ritual that helps you get work off your mind. I've adopted a strategy that I've heard about from several sources to leave my work behind when I leave. At my job, I have to turn in my work keys and my radio at the end of my shift. So I imagine handing them the whole atmosphere of the place along with the keys and radio, and then I walk out the gate. Driving home, sometimes I listen to something that's relaxing. For me, that's kirtan chanting or perhaps an audiobook. And sometimes I scream in the car on the way home. I'll scream about everything that happened. I'll yell at that awful coworker that stressed me out that day. In my car, in the privacy of my car, to get it out of my system before I come home. Or I'll put a loud song on the radio and sing it at the top of my lungs to help de-stress. When I get home, I've got a habit, as soon as I get out of the car, of checking on my blue pantry box. If you don't know what that is, I'll link a video up here in the corner on that video. Before I walk into the house, I wipe my feet on the mat, imagining brushing off any last little remains of stressors from my work before walking in that door. Does it always help? Do I always walk in completely de-stressed? Not always, but it does help. And sometimes it helps a lot. So the third way to manage or prevent burnout is to develop a good ritual to unwind at the end of your day. A fourth thing to look at, are you taking care of yourself? Another way to manage burnout is to prioritize your own health and fitness. Are you eating properly, getting enough exercise, drinking enough water, sleeping at least 7 hours every night, doing all of your care tasks, such as showers, brushing your teeth, all the daily things? And what about your mental health? Trying a new hobby and giving yourself more time for personal life things can also help. I've developed my yoga routine, and I work in other exercises as well, such as taking a walk through my local woods. This helps me on both a physical and mental level because it's proven that time in nature lowers stress and improves overall health. I do suffer from something called revenge bedtime procrastination. When I get home from work, it's usually 10:30 p.m. or later, and since I feel like I've given my whole self to other people all throughout the day, I feel like I deserve or I need time for myself, and I will stay up for hours on social media on my phone or playing little phone games, little bubble popping games, math puzzle games. Those are my phone addictions. I've recognized this in myself, and I've been working on it, coming up with a set routine and different strategies to help. And over time, I've managed to get to bed no later than midnight on most nights, and for me, that's pretty good. And I make sure to schedule fun stuff for my days off. I've got my weekly farmer's market trip. Hubby and I make sure to make a date every week, and I talk with my adult children. I make sure to try to keep a good work-life balance. So the fourth strategy is to make sure you're taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. And if all this doesn't work for you, do you need to quit? Maybe, maybe not. There are other steps you can take when nothing else is working. When things get really bad at work, reach out to your local Employee Assistance Program, or EAP, or the Student Wellness Center at your college, or schedule a meeting with your boss or your HR department with a written list of what you find stressful and ways that you feel could help relieve that and lessen the load. Perhaps discussing your work schedule or seeing if your workload could be reduced. Maybe talking about that one coworker making your day miserable and all the things that could be done. maybe even asking to take on a special project that piques your interest and can keep you engaged at work. And I have done all of these steps. None of that working? Maybe it is time to quit. And in my next video, I'll go into the details of exactly what made me decide that quitting was in my best interest. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to my channel for some more content on work-life balance, handling work stress, toxic coworkers, and exit strategies. And I'm trying to get this information out there to as many people as possible, and you hitting that like and subscribing, hitting the bell notification, all of that will help do just that. So I thank you very much. And I love all of you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Namaste.